At some point in life, each of us faces a moment where a decision demands our full attention. It may be a crossroad, a decision so significant that it reverberates throughout our future, altering its course forever. The weight of the choice can feel immense, as if every path comes with its own set of fears and promises. The internal struggle of whether to stay in a familiar, albeit uncomfortable situation, or to walk away into the unknown, is a dilemma all too familiar to many. This conflict, however, is not just about the immediate decision, but about the act of making it itself. It requires reflection, a moment to step back and look at the situation with clarity before the final step is taken. In this quiet space of reflection, one may begin to understand that the process of making decisions is, in itself, transformative. It is not just the outcome that shapes us, but the journey through uncertainty that brings growth. As we weigh our options, we are inevitably changed by the experience. There is wisdom in allowing ourselves the time and space to reflect, not just on the decision at hand, but on what we've learned about ourselves along the way. Whatever the outcome, the process is a pivotal moment of personal evolution. Making a significant decision is rarely a simple logical exercise. It is fraught with emotional complexity, a delicate balancing act between what we feel, what we fear, and what we hope for. The internal tug-of-war between fear and hope often defines the experience. On one side, fear whispers about the unknown, the risks that come with change, and the possibility of regret. On the other side, hope nudges us toward the belief that a better future awaits, one that can only be reached through decisive action. Yet there is also a quiet, more insidious emotion, the regret of inaction, the fear of having missed an opportunity. The weight of this potential regret can be paralyzing. In fact, many people choose to avoid making any decision at all, preferring the comfort of the known over the discomfort of change. The human tendency to avoid discomfort is powerful. We naturally seek stability, even if it means staying in situations that no longer serve us. But avoidance does not make the decision disappear. It only delays the inevitable. Recognizing these emotions without letting them dictate our decisions is one of the hardest things we can do. Fear, hope, and regret are natural reactions, but it is crucial to acknowledge them without allowing them to control our actions. The key to navigating this emotional storm is not to suppress these feelings, but to understand them, see them for what they are, and then move forward with clarity, free from their overwhelming influence. In the midst of emotional chaos, reflection serves as an anchor. The importance of pausing before action cannot be overstated. This moment of stillness, where we can step outside the turmoil and look inward, is often the turning point in the decision-making process. Reflection allows us to sift through the noise of emotion and examine the situation from a clearer, more objective standpoint. One philosophical approach that highlights the power of reflection is the Stoic concept of pausing before acting. Stoics believed that before making any decision, one must first take a deep breath, detach from the emotional weight of the moment, and approach the situation with reason and mindfulness. By doing so, we create a mental space where our true values, priorities, and long-term goals can emerge, free from the immediate pressure of emotional reactions. Reflection is not about avoiding action, but about creating the mental clarity needed to make the right choice. It is a tool for self-awareness, helping us understand our motivations, fears, and desires. By reflecting deeply, we can separate ourselves from the impulsive responses that arise in the face of uncertainty and focus on what truly matters. Once we achieve this clarity, the next step is logical analysis, where we examine the pros and cons of each option with a calm, focused mind. Only then can we move forward, confident in the decisions we make, knowing that we have not been swayed by fleeting emotions, but instead have acted from a place of thoughtful consideration and personal understanding. When faced with a significant decision, emotions can cloud our judgment, making it easy to be swept up in the intensity of fear, hope, and uncertainty. However, to truly navigate the complexity of choice, the power of logic and reason must be harnessed. This is where the Stoic philosophy offers invaluable wisdom. The Stoics believe that reason is our most reliable tool in making decisions. They taught that, before acting, we must examine the situation through the lens of rationality, distancing ourselves from emotional impulses that often lead to poor judgment. One key Stoic practice is to approach decisions from multiple perspectives, rather than looking at a situation in a one-dimensional
way. Reason invites us to consider all angles, both the immediate and long-term consequences. When making a choice, it is crucial to ask questions like, what will happen if I stay? What might happen if I leave? What are the hidden consequences of this decision? By taking the time to look at the situation from every viewpoint, we open ourselves to a more holistic understanding. The Stoics also emphasize the importance of weighing the pros and cons, a simple but effective method of logical analysis. This practice encourages us to list the benefits and drawbacks of each potential decision, creating a visual guide that helps clarify our thoughts. For example, staying in a job we don't enjoy may provide short-term stability, but it may also leave us feeling unfulfilled. On the other hand, leaving that job could mean venturing into the unknown, but it could also open doors to personal growth and new opportunities. When faced with these choices, reason allows us to weigh these factors thoughtfully, free from the noise of anxiety or impulsive desire. The contrast between emotional impulse and rational thinking is striking. While emotions often push us to act quickly, out of fear or excitement, reason provides a framework that encourages patience and careful thought. It reminds us that not every decision requires an immediate response. Through the Stoic practice of reflection and logical analysis, we can make choices that align with our true values and goals, instead of reacting to external pressures or emotional surges. Every decision, no matter how big or small, carries with it an inherent risk and reward. The allure of a new path may promise exciting possibilities, but it is essential to recognize that risk is an inevitable companion on any journey. The Stoics understood this well, encouraging the practice of mental preparation to face both outcomes, success and failure, without being overly attached to either. For them, the ability to remain equanimous in the face of both triumph and hardship was key to maintaining inner peace and clarity. At the heart of decision-making lies the acknowledgement that no choice is without consequences. Whether we choose to stay in a familiar but unsatisfying situation or venture into the unknown, we are always stepping into a space where risk and reward coexist. It is easy to fixate on the risks, the chance of failure, rejection, or disappointment, but we must also consider the rewards that may arise. The risk of leaving a stable job for a new opportunity could bring financial uncertainty, but it might also lead to greater personal fulfillment, new experiences, and unforeseen growth. Fear of failure or the unknown often clouds judgment, preventing us from making the best decisions. We may worry about the potential for loss, the embarrassment of a failed attempt, or the discomfort of facing unfamiliar challenges. Yet, the Stoic view teaches us that failure is not to be feared but embraced as part of the process of growth. In fact, failure is often a more powerful teacher than success. It is through adversity that we develop resilience, learn new skills, and understand more about ourselves and our capabilities. The fear of failure is a natural emotion, but it should not dictate our actions. Instead, we must ask ourselves, what can I learn from this challenge? How will I grow from it? The rewards of decision-making are often intertwined with the risks. Growth and transformation rarely come without some degree of discomfort. By embracing the possibility of failure, we open ourselves up to the potential for tremendous personal development. As we explore the risks and rewards of any decision, we must recognize that the real reward often lies not in the outcome itself, but in the journey and lessons learned along the way. Ultimately, the Stoics remind us that we cannot control the outcome of every decision, but we can control how we respond. By preparing ourselves mentally for both success and failure, we ensure that we can move forward with courage and wisdom, ready to embrace whatever comes our way. Through this mindset, we can make decisions that are not only rational, but are aligned with our deeper values, knowing that even through setbacks, we are moving closer to becoming our best selves. When faced with the uncertainty of a major decision, our minds often race, flooded with worst-case scenarios. This fear of the unknown can paralyze us, making it difficult to move forward. However, the Stoics offer a powerful technique known as negative visualization, which involves deliberately contemplating the worst possible outcomes. By envisioning the worst-case scenario, we prepare ourselves mentally for what could happen, reducing the anxiety that often accompanies fear of the unknown. The Stoics believe that by acknowledging and accepting potential hardship in advance, we can mitigate its emotional impact should it arise. Through this practice, we are not dwelling in pessimism, but
rather building resilience. When we allow ourselves to see the worst, it becomes less threatening. We realize that even in the face of adversity, we are capable of coping, adapting, and finding strength. Negative visualization helps us disarm the fear that stems from imagining worst outcomes, creating space for clearer, more rational thinking. In addition to negative visualization, Stoic exercises such as journaling, meditation, and mindfulness can help prepare the mind for uncertainty. These practices encourage self-reflection, helping us detach from the emotional turbulence of decision-making. By consistently engaging in these techniques, we build the mental resilience needed to face challenging choices with calm and clarity. As the moment of decision looms closer, the importance of mental preparation becomes apparent. Will we be able to face the unknown with equanimity, or will we be overwhelmed by fear and doubt? The tension is palpable as we prepare to embrace the next step. It is in this moment of uncertainty that Stoic practices help us find the mental fortitude to move forward. In Stoicism, courage is not the absence of fear, but the ability to act despite it. When it comes to making a decision, courage is the ability to choose the unknown, to step away from what is comfortable, and to embrace the uncertainty of change. The Stoics teach that courage is a skill that must be practiced, a mental muscle we can strengthen through deliberate action and thought. Choosing the unknown is never easy. It requires us to leave behind the familiar, to walk away from what feels safe, even if it no longer serves us. Whether it's ending a relationship, changing careers, or relocating to a new city, the decision to move into uncharted territory can stir feelings of anxiety, doubt, and regret. The path forward is often shrouded in uncertainty, and the temptation to retreat into the comfort of what we know can be overwhelming. But courage, in its true Stoic form, is about making a commitment to our choice, no matter how difficult. Once the decision is made, the Stoic mindset encourages us to hold firm to that commitment, not wavering in the face of doubt. The tension builds as we consider whether we will have the courage to stay the course. Will we trust in our decision, or will fear lead us to second guess and abandon the path we've chosen? This is where the inner battle lies, not in the absence of fear, but in the ability to act in spite of it. Courage is about pushing through the discomfort, understanding that growth often lies just beyond the edge of our fears. It's about facing the unknown with the conviction that even if the outcome is uncertain, we will learn, adapt, and become stronger for it. As we stand on the precipice of action, the question remains: will we have the courage to move forward, to make the leap into the unknown and embrace the journey ahead? The suspense lingers as we contemplate the weight of the choice. Every decision, no matter how thoughtful or courageous, leads to consequences, some positive, some negative. The Stoic mindset encourages us to embrace these consequences without regret. Whether the results align with our hopes or bring unforeseen challenges, we must remember that consequences are an inevitable part of the human experience. It is how we respond to them that truly matters. A key tenet of Stoicism is the understanding that we cannot control the outcomes of our decisions. The consequences are beyond our control, and it is futile to dwell on what might have been. Instead, the Stoics teach that we should focus on what is within our power, our response. We have the ability to choose how we react to the consequences, and this power is where our true strength lies. Whether we face success or failure, we must own the outcomes of our decisions. We must accept them, learn from them, and move forward without regret. The Stoic approach to consequences is not about denying the emotional impact of failure or disappointment, but about recognizing that we are not defined by what happens to us. What defines us is how we handle those moments. Do we blame ourselves or others for the outcome? Or do we accept it, learn from it, and continue to grow? The real strength of a Stoic is not in avoiding negative consequences, but in responding to them with resilience and wisdom. In this way, the Stoics help us prepare for both the anticipated rewards and the unexpected challenges that come with any decision. They remind us that we are not at the mercy of our choices, but rather the masters of how we respond to them. The consequences, while inevitable, do not define us. Our response to them does. There is a peculiar kind of freedom in walking away, the moment you choose to leave behind what you've known. Stepping into the unknown feels like both a heavy weight and a sudden lightness. The unknown stretches before you, an expanse of possibilities, yet it can also seem like a vast, intimidating void. In that moment, there's a sense of liberation, like you've cut ties with the safety nets that once held you in place. You leave behind the comfort of routine, the certainty of what's familiar, and the shadows of your own self-doubt. Yet with every step into that uncertainty, a part of you is freed. Walking away is more than just leaving. It is an act of self-liberation. It's a conscious decision to break away from the constraints that have kept you bound, whether they be expectations from others, societal norms, or self-imposed limitations. As you move forward, each step further disconnects you from the past and its hold over you. It is an act of reclaiming autonomy, asserting your right to define your path, and embracing the sovereignty of your own choices. In the Stoic tradition, this moment is a testament to self-reliance. The Stoics valued independence, not in the sense of isolation, but in the sense of self-sufficiency. The strength to make decisions based on one's own values and beliefs without relying on external validation is at the heart of their philosophy. Walking away, then, becomes not just a physical act, but a manifestation of inner resolve. It is a declaration that you trust yourself enough to venture into uncertainty without needing approval or assurance from anyone else. Yet even as the feeling of liberation swells within you, there remains a lingering question. Will this leap into the unknown lead to freedom, or will it bring unforeseen struggles? The anticipation hangs in the air, suspended between hope and fear. Will the decision you've made open the doors to a life of fulfillment, or will the challenges ahead prove to be greater than you expected? As you take that first step, the suspense is palpable, for you can never fully know what lies ahead. But the choice is yours, and with it comes the power to shape your journey. The moment you walk away from the familiar, you unlock the potential for transformation. Change, while often unsettling, is the catalyst for growth. When we choose to embrace the unknown, we choose to evolve, to shed the layers of old habits, assumptions, and fears that have limited our potential. The Stoic philosophy encourages us to view change not as something to fear, but as an opportunity to become our best selves. In fact, change is the very foundation of personal development. Embracing change means allowing yourself to be vulnerable, to grow from experiences that may be uncomfortable or unfamiliar. It is through these moments of uncertainty that we develop resilience, wisdom, and understanding. By leaving behind what no longer serves us, we make room for new possibilities, new lessons, new perspectives, and new paths that lead us closer to the person we are meant to become. In the Stoic mindset, transformation is not something to be resisted. it is something to be welcomed. The Stoics believe that we have the power to shape our own destiny, but only if we are willing to accept the changes that come our way. By embracing change, we develop the strength to meet each challenge with equanimity, learning and adapting as we move forward. Through this constant cycle of reflection, action, and growth, we evolve into individuals who are more aligned with our true values and purpose. For the protagonist, this leap into the unknown will bring both growth and hardship. The journey ahead is uncertain, and yet it is precisely this uncertainty that holds the potential for transformation. What begins as a decision to walk away will become a process of becoming, of shedding the old self to make space for the new. As they embrace change, they will inevitably encounter obstacles, but each challenge will bring a new layer of wisdom, helping them to build the resilience needed to navigate future uncertainties. The reader, too, feels the anticipation of how this transformation will unfold. Will the protagonist embrace the discomfort of change, or will the challenges prove overwhelming? What new strengths will they discover about themselves along the way? The story is unfolding, and with each choice, the protagonist moves closer to becoming someone entirely new, someone shaped by the trials, triumphs, and lessons of embracing change. In Stoic philosophy, the four cardinal virtues, wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance, serve as the guiding principles for making sound decisions, especially in the face of uncertainty. Wisdom enables us to understand what is truly within our control, distinguishing between what we can influence and what we cannot. Courage gives us the strength to act, even when the path forward is unclear or fraught with fear. Justice urges us to consider the impact of our decisions on others, ensuring we act with fairness and integrity. Lastly, temperance keeps us grounded, helping us balance our desires with reason and self-control. As the protagonist wrestles with their decisions, these virtues have silently shaped their journey. Wisdom guided the deep reflection, allowing them to weigh options and understand the long-term consequences. Courage fueled their willingness to step into the unknown, despite the fear that accompanied change. Justice shaped their desire to act not only for personal benefit, but in alignment with what felt morally right. Temperance kept them focused, preventing them from making impulsive choices driven by fleeting desires. With each choice made so far, these virtues have intertwined, forming a foundation for the final decision. As the protagonist stands on the precipice of commitment, the question becomes not just what they will decide, but how these virtues will be reflected in that choice. The final decision is the culmination of all the reflection, growth, and courage that has come before it. It is here that the weight of Stoic philosophy rests, guiding the protagonist through their most critical choice yet. The moment of commitment arrives. With a deep breath, the protagonist takes the leap, making their final decision. There is no turning back now. The process that led to this moment has been a journey of self-reflection, a slow and deliberate process of weighing emotions, reasoning, and virtues. They have recognized the risks, embraced the lessons from their past, and cultivated the courage to walk away from what is no longer serving them. This choice is not easy, but it is rooted in wisdom gained through introspection, the courage to face the unknown, and the commitment to living by their values. What stands out in this final decision is how aligned it is with the person they've become throughout the journey. The decision reflects their hard-earned wisdom, their commitment to living with integrity, and the courage to take responsibility for the path ahead. Though the outcome remains uncertain, no one can predict how the future will unfold. The protagonist is resolute. The true value lies not in the certainty of the result, but in the act of choosing, the embracing of the process itself. By making this choice, the protagonist demonstrates their growth, not just in terms of their decision-making, but in their evolution as a person. The road ahead is still unclear, but they are no longer paralyzed by fear or doubt. they have chosen to embrace the future, trusting that they will meet whatever comes with the same wisdom, courage, and resolve. Throughout this journey, the protagonist has learned that decision-making is not about seeking certainty, but about embracing the process with wisdom, courage, and clarity. Walking away from the familiar was not an end, but a new beginning, an opportunity for growth and transformation. Each decision, each step forward, has been an exercise in self-reliance, tempered by reflection and thoughtful analysis. For the audience, the lesson is clear. The ability to make difficult decisions lies within us all. It is not the absence of fear or doubt that determines success, but the strength to move forward despite them. Every choice, even the uncertain ones, carries meaning when approached with intention and courage. As you stand at your own crossroads, remember that each decision you make shapes who you are becoming. The Stoics teach us that we cannot always control the outcome, but we can control our response and our commitment to the journey. The more we value things outside our control, the less control we have. Epictetus. This quote invites you to reflect on your own choices, to focus on what lies within your power, and to step boldly into the future you are shaping.